You'll have to click the box that says "Got it," and that should clear it out of your way. I'm going to mute everybody, and we start as we, in a sense, should start every practice by sitting. Could be standing meditation as well. That's also available, but this moment of overtly doing nothing. That doesn't mean we are holding ourselves trying to be still, with rigidity, but it means you're not trying to do something specific other than just be present. That's why the closing of the eyes, the turning inward of the attention, this saying in this great, not one of the most ancient Taoist texts, one of the more, you could say modern, but that's still like way back in the day. It's called The Secret of the Golden Flower. And it was written for a period of time where they were sort of trying to cut through the fluff, cut through the almost out of control flowering of different techniques. And so one of those techniques, and their main one in the beginning, they say, turn the light around. Turn the light around. And one way of looking at that is we have this perception ability, this power to see, hear, and sense. You could say that that is the light of awareness. And that's so often going out and away from us that this technique, they sort of boil down the most important technique to, hey, you, with your consciousness, take that light of perception and turn it around and pour it or shed it like a spotlight into your own mind, into your own emotional centers, and into and onto your many layered body. So when we just sit here on our chair and close the eyes and breathe in and breathe out, there's quite a bit that could be happening here. You could, of course, just be thinking about lunch, right? Or you could be turning the light of your perception around, viewing inward towards your own mind, towards the content, the sort of habitual chatter of the mind. You could be noticing what emotional qualities are stirring. You could be noticing where your physical structure is perhaps a little bit out of alignment. You could be noticing where your material body, the meat and muscle and tissue and so on, is either sort of collapsed or tense, right? We're usually on one side or the other of that. And so then when we're sitting and breathing in and breathing out, suddenly all this information becomes available to us that before we were not able to perceive. So this turn the light around and view your being and its many layers, from the material to the subtle. And so as I've said before, if you just sit 2 minutes or 5 minutes a couple of different times throughout your day, and all you do is just harness your attention, turn the light around, view your body, take, 25, 30 conscious breaths. Suddenly you become someone who can tweak and tilt the filters and the activities that are going on. You can become a master of the subtle state that you're in. So let's just spend we'll just do 10 breaths with that idea. Turning the light around, pouring that spotlight onto your own physical body. Notice your spinal alignment, pelvic positioning. Scan through your shoulder blades and chest and arms and notice if you're grabbing or holding anywhere. Try to soften and relax. Notice the head and neck, a very important relationship there that in general, we need to slightly bring the chin down to lengthen the space in the back of the neck and to open the gate at the very top of the base of your skull, that when our posture is not so great, we're sort of compressing that area and the nerve flow that needs to get through there. So this chin down, crown up, it's almost like you use your skull to lift and lengthen the spinal column and dangle it. There's also that visual like it's a string of pearls that's being dangled down in space. And so we want to be able to create that sensation of spacious, dangling openness. And then the breathing, of course, inhaling opens us up from the inside, expanding us in all directions. The exhale allows us this slight compression, but it's also a melting, a releasing. The breathing acts as a primary pump for the lymphatic system and other fluid systems, along with the breath. Final 5 breaths here. And then let's place our hands on the thighs. Slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, and lift your chest, lift your chin, looking up to the sky, creating this arch of the back. Slide the hands forward, drop the head, drop the chin, hollow the chest back, and create this rounding or doming of the back. Do that 3 more times. Inhale. Elbows back, shoulder blades back, hands back, chest up, chin up, look up. And hands forward, drop the head, round the back, follow the chest area. 2 more. As you practice more and more, the idea here would be that you start to feel the freedom of movement. That you don't have to work as hard as you're accustomed to create these changes in your structure. This is the use of the hydraulic power system as opposed to the tension and force system that most people are utilizing with their body. So Tai Chi is all about liquid, fluid. Let's settle back to the middle. Keep that fluid idea as we do our rotations. Left hand forward, right hand and elbow back. Turn your shoulders and your head. So now you're creating a little rotation through every vertebra of the spine. And then switch and rotate. And switch and rotate. So if we're soft, we can get to a certain distance in our rotation while remaining soft. And then we can apply a little bit of force right at the end to deepen that rotation. And then we relax that force, slide, and we're soft, 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 soft. And then right at the end, we do a little bit of force just to clean out something that's maybe a little dense or stuck. But then we got to remember to relax across to the other side. And you might find on this next one, you can get further in the soft state. And then you can apply a little bit of force right, and then you relax the force and melt your way across to the other side. And again, you might find your range increasing. Apply just a little bit of force. Let's do 1 more each way. So these terms, yin and yang, hard and soft, doing and don'ting. Right? We want to use those like they're techniques for movement. Arms hang by your sides. Now, shift your weight a little bit to the right buttock. So your left buttock should be a little emptier. Lean the spinal column and let your head fall. And lift your left wrist, floating just right in front of your chest and armpit area. And flirt with disaster just a little bit. Try to almost like you're going to the edge of falling out of your chair. And then make your way back to the middle, pausing in the middle for a moment. Shift the weight to that left buttock. Lean the spinal column, let the head lean. And then lift that right wrist and then flirt with disaster. Maybe even let that right foot. It's my left, but I'm saying right because I'm your mirror. And then we come back to middle. Ideally, we can do all of that in one liquid flow. Flow, middle. So this is hydraulics. Just kind of falling through, releasing, back to middle. Do that again, to your right. And to your left. And those of you that just popped in, I think some of you are new. I can't see your camera. If you want to keep your camera off, that is fine. Some of you I see waving, yeah, I can see you. But those new people that just popped in, your camera's off. Sam, Suzanne, and what is it? Sherilyn. So on your laptop, it would be the bottom left corner start video. On an iPad, it would be tap the screen. I believe it's top right corner start video.
You can't see me.
Who's that?
That's Carolyn. You cannot see me.
I can't see you. Carolyn, I can see you. Sherilyn, I can't. And Suzanne Greninger, you have two screens up, but neither of them are on. So anyway, so we're back to center here. Arms dangle. Now we do our shoulder blade circles. And again, we go over these a little bit more on the Friday Tai Chi class. We're just trying to prep the body with some basics here. So shoulder blades forward, up, back, down. Forward, up, back, down. 3 more like that. So one of the main places in our body, and Alicia, I believe you're unmuted, if you could mute yourself. Thank you. One of the main areas the body holds tension and creates a feeling of being top heavy and sort of easy to tip over. Chest, shoulders, upper back, head, and neck. We hold a lot of tension. So this is one of the primary movements for liberating that so that our upper body or top can be what they say, top empty, bottom full. We want our bottom to be grounded and full rather than a bunch of activity in this upper body. So we're trying to clear that out. Let's reverse. Shoulder blades back, up, over, down. Back, up, over, down. And if you ever look at the anatomy, you can look it up on the internet. Look up the anatomy of the shoulder blades or anatomy of the upper back. And you'll see that there are layer upon layer upon layer of musculature that basically means we can do amazing things with our arms and our chest and our upper body. But it's also a place where if we aren't cleaning it and keeping it up, really upkeeping it, it gets glued together, stuck, and then we feel sort of top heavy stick figure movement. So we want this loose and free quality. The second movement that does that, bend your elbows and bring your hands up like so. And we flare the elbows out, possibly up. So you can just see, you don't have to get as high as I'm getting, but just see that they can go up here and be very loose, very open, right? You might feel there's some stuckness, but over time, you can kind of wing up, bring the elbows down, bring the elbows around and squeeze them together in front. That helps to open the back. Then elbows down. We'll do 2 more of these, just floating those elbows up And floating down and around and squeeze. Down, out, and up. Down, around, and squeeze. Second movement in this little series, elbows back. This opens this area, the chest. Elbows down, forward, and then importantly, up. So over time, you might be able to get here. Don't force it, don't jam it if there's pain, but over time, you want to feel this sliding ability to get up to here, and then forward, down, back. So we're doing cleanup. I often think of it like cleaning the hull of a ship that's got barnacles on it. So there's interior sort of barnacles and adhesions and things like that. And we're just moving through, trying to clean up anything that's in the way. And then finally, the third in this little set, elbows out, palms facing down, go one hand above, one hand below, cross. So this hand goes underneath, and then wrap the hands around and hug your torso. So you're closing the front, opening the back of the shoulders, elbows out to the side, then the other hand above, other hand below, wrap, hug, and crawl your hands. Try to go and find an edge there. You're really wrapped around. And then relax that, elbows go out to the side, and then other above, other below. Closing the front, which opens the back. And then open. And then the other. Closing. Squeezing. And then open. And elbows down, arms hang. Now, arms loose. Ideally, we feel a sort of fluid, light buoyancy here where the chest and shoulder meet. And then that space in there, we want to be able to just swing the arms forward and back, without, a lot of times when we start this, we're holding, so we're moving and we're in control the whole time, as opposed to, you can see this sort of feeling of light, loose, easy, and the whole body can feel this way. There's a whole series in Tai Chi and Qigong that practices just this floating, throwing, they call it shuai shou, or throwing arms, swinging arms, and let them come to stillness. And then go right arm forward, left arm back, and we swing, swing. And this is a really good one because it induces a sort of rotation in this middle body, the slight turning of the vertebra, this rotation that we need in order to walk freely, to really move when we want to sort of cross the room with some efficiency, right? There's this turning we need to be doing, right? We can't be stuck and just waddling around. But that's what's happening for a lot of people. We lost the inner fulcrum, the inner pivot. So that's the reason for that exercise. And again, there's so many different exercises that help with this. These are a few. Now, scoot a little bit back on your chair. We just got to warm up the joints and tissues of the leg. So bring your right knee up, pull the knee as if towards chest, flex the foot like you're going to kick or push something away from you. Push, reload, and then set that foot down. We'll switch to the other leg. Load, push, reload, down. Think of this a little bit like your sponge that you use in your kitchen, that you need to squeeze it and then open it and it can fill back up. So we're squeezing, then we're opening, squeezing again, setting down, letting it be open. Squeeze, open, squeeze. So we're not trying to do something incredibly powerful externally, like push something away from us. We're just trying to get the tissue and joints to be pliable and movable. We're pumping the juices. We're sending the nerve electricity. So we're just connecting and networking. Last one here. And then importantly, the foot and ankle. So float the foot up. 3 main activities of the foot. Point, flex. That's one. Right? This is a range or a path. Pointing and flexing. The second one, very subtle, tilt the foot in, tilt the foot out, called inversion, eversion, inversion, eversion. And then circle, which is actually a combination of the two, pointing, flexing, inverting, and everting. And reverse. Very important for balance that our ankles and feet not be stiff cinder blocks, but that they be pliable, movable, adjustable, and adaptable. Other foot, pointing and flexing. So all of this being done in our chair, we realized we could do this watching our favorite TV show, or got our cup of tea or coffee, and we're just hanging out, sipping on coffee and connecting the brain and working the tissues and joints. Tilt the foot in, tilt out, in and out. And again, like I was saying at the beginning, even if you just did 5 minutes of breathing and meditation with some joint mechanics, you're going to be better off when you get up to go about your day than if you don't do that. So, not that it's a cure-all for everything, but it can't hurt. It can only help. Let's go the other way. Which is why I fell in love with the Taoist Tai Chi, Qigong world, Chinese medicine world. It's all about just what are those things that if we do them regularly, they move us in the right direction. So we're not waiting around for some magic bullet. That's the Western medicine approach, which is good. They come up with all kinds of amazing pharmaceuticals, but what can we do in our off time, during our day, multiple times a day? It's very empowering. At least that's how I look at it. So now, scoot back to the very front edge. Last little thing with the legs. Step a little wider than hip distance. Lift the toes up, heels touching the ground. Now we, from the hips, from the groin area, turn, knees in, toes in. This is internal rotation. And then lift those toes again, turn on the heels, external rotation. So this space, the groin space, known as the quad, needs to be able to open and close for a healthy body. Close, open, close, open. Pelvis, spinal column, rib cage, head, neck, shoulders, just relaxing. Legs moving independent or freely. They're connected, but we don't want them glued to the body. We want space. We want freedom to move. And then back to neutral. Bring your leg back to hip distance. Now invert that relationship. Legs don't move. Pelvis fold. And sit upright. And lean back. So a lot of times when I show this, people's first reaction is, notice the difference between me rounding my back and now I don't round my back at all. All I do is fold the pelvis at the leg bone and I get all the way here. And essentially my spinal column stays in this same relationship. And then sit upright. And again, this is that open freedom we need to have where the legs and pelvis meet. This is a #1 problem issue for people. And it, if you have any low back pain, stiffness in the back, this is frozen shut. Walking becomes a big problem. But if we can keep this lubricated and free, right? And we do more with this in the Friday class, but that's all we'll do today because we want to get up. All right, again, make sure you do have chair on one side, chair on the other side, backs of chairs are facing in. This is our guardrails and our safety rails here. Now, slide your feet back a little bit and then fold at the hips. So now we're still somewhat in the chair, but we want to pour the body weight out of the chair into our legs. Notice I haven't even stood up yet, but I'm not sitting anymore. So there's this place here, and then I can just push down and the body will naturally get tall, right? And I can be relaxed and loose and free up top and just let myself be concerned about down, rounding down. Now, when it's time to sit, we want to do the same thing. Keep the groundedness through your feet and do this freedom of movement in the hips. Notice I haven't bent my knees yet. I folded. then I'm sinking, I still haven't sat down, I found my chair, then I'm coming back. Eventually we can flow this movement, but at first we want to find stage 1, which is fold, pour yourself out of the chair, and then stage 2, pushing vertical. And then sitting down, again, this first stage, we want to not bend the knees, but do fold at the hips. Then sink the butt down, 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 finding the chair, but still haven't sat in it yet. And then I'm leaning back. So it's sort of an exhaustive way of doing it at first, but you got to hit those connect the dots. Again, fold, pour yourself out of the chair, and then up. And then sitting down. If you remember to do hips first, eventually it just flows down to the chair. And then let's do 2 more where you maybe try to do it without like the square version. Instead, it's more the flow version. So it's just, oh, time to stand up. I fold and pour and push. It doesn't mean you force it or rush it. It just means you let it flow. Same thing. Fold and sing. Remember, top empty. A lot of times we get all tense up in the upper body. Keep it loose. Keep it loose. Makes it easier to just float up like a hot air balloon. All right, now standing. Let's make our way near this right side chair. So come on over here. You got to be able to touch it. It keeps you safe if you need it. You could have the chair there the whole time and you never use it, but it's good that it's there, right? And others of you in the beginning, you'll need to have at least a finger touching it for psychological support to allow you to feel confident. But we want to be standing up tall. Now, the belly button represents our middle, and think of it like a seesaw, the middle of a seesaw. That allows us this organization of lift and lower. So now, standing near the chair, change your body weight over to your right leg and let the body weight go down through one leg only, this other leg a little empty. And then change that. Most important thing with this maneuver is that when I'm doing it, notice how I'm not doing this and this. Notice how my central line stays vertical. If I had a cup of tea here, it wouldn't spill, and yet I've got one full, one empty, and then I'm changing that. The key to that is letting this leg sort of bend a little bit to take the body weight. So the primary direction is down through one leg to the earth where my middle stays vertical. And then I'm changing. So now it's this leg. If I have stick legs, then I have to lean because I'm sort of never quite getting down to the earth. But if I allow this soft little bend in the legs, then I can get down. So it's basically like a bed spring. Think of your bed. When you sit on your bed, the way a spring gives, but yet gets more supportive as it compresses. That's what our legs are very much like. Is you let it compress a little bit, but then it creates this nice sturdiness. So let yourself get down to the earth. Let yourself get down to the earth. Now let's add a challenge. Go down through the right leg, empty left foot. Now lift the heel and try to get up to the tip of your shoe or the tip of your toe. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just lifting the heel, letting the knee bend, and then lower that foot back down. Change your body weight into that leg, lift to the tippy toe, and then come back down. Do that again. Change the weight first. Then once the leg is empty, it's lift, lower, and then we change the weight to the other side. Once the other is empty, lift, lower, shift, lift, lower. Now, when you get good at this, when you can let the weight find its way to the floor in a very efficient way, then this could happen almost simultaneous, where it's changing the weight as the other foot is lifting. So maybe try that, where it's as your weight is changing, you're lifting the other foot. As the weight is changing, you're lifting the foot. So they're very kind of stacked closer together. once you discern these events of change, lift, lower, change, lift, lower, then you can go boom, boom. Okay, now hand on chair, you probably need it. When you now get to the tippy toe of one foot and lift the foot off the ground, place the whole foot back down on the ground. Change the weight to that left leg. Again, chair's there for safety. Get to the tippy toe, disconnect, reconnect, change. We're doing it that slow way first. Change, tippy toe, disconnect, reconnect, change, tippy toe, lift, lower, change. Keep doing that. Some of you might go to that second sort of version, the more flow version, where as your weight is efficiently going down one, the other is able to lift. It comes down. As the weight is going down, this lifts. And if you feel unsteady, do notice a couple of things. How much of this are you doing? Right? Which basically is taking a bunch of weight and holding it up here and making you more likely to topple. Let your arms go. Remember all that work we did where you're swinging loose. Keep that looseness. Now let's go level 3. You will most probably need your chair for this. Knee up as high as it can go. And all the way down long with no weighting. And then change the weight. Knee as high as it can go. Foot all the way down. Change. Up. Down. Change. Up. Down. Change. Up. Some of you might play with simultaneous. It can start to feel like scale, a scale that some weight gets put on one side and it's going down, the other side of the scale is going up, but it's the middle pivot being, sort of still or really free is a better way to think of it. It's not holding where it is in space, it's just free. The middle being free to create these changes. And middle. Okay, next exercise. Hand on chair as needed. We change the weight to the right, left leg, your left, my right, and float your foot out and just tap the floor in front with a toe, empty, and bring the foot back empty and shift. Then the other foot, tap, bring it back, shift. So get nicely established, other foot empty, get to the tippy toe and you float out and just touch the floor. Bring the foot back, shift. This is a really good one for learning how to move the foot forward without letting it pull your body weight along. So often what happens is people go, right? And I'm exaggerating, but that's often happening. Whereas you notice here, I'm committing more, and I'm committing more to my standing leg, and this is forcing me to really find that, to be able to stay empty. So this is the cat stance. The cat stance. A little sort of ninja light touch. Now, same feeling, but put the heel out. Empty the foot and go heel. Bring the foot back. Change. Heel. Change. Heel. Change. Heel. Change. I'm going to do a few sideways so you can see my center of gravity isn't moving forward at all. So I'm using the emptiness of that foot to give it the freedom to move. And yet my middle, my center, everything is just staying nice and relaxed. And so we're breaking this sort of weighted, frozen state so that we're getting free. Now, last one in this little set, we go toe, heel, toe, bring it back, change, toe, heel, toe, bring it back. So again, just adding neural challenges, balance challenges, dealing with change, testing how well grounded are you. And remember, it could be very close to you, right? Some of you might be stepping too far forward. You could just do it right here, right? And you're working on all the principles, all the basic techniques. Now, I lied to you, there's two more in this little set. So watch what I do here. Empty foot, I float the foot out, and then I have to sink to land the whole foot on the ground. And then I bring it back, change the weight, float the foot out, and set the whole foot down, but no body weight. No body weight. Bring it back. Shift, float the foot out, and then set the whole foot down. Bring it back. Change. Float, set the whole foot back. Change. Whole foot back. Change. Now, finishing this, the last one, the foot goes out. Now let's have your right foot out to my left, your right, and we'll repeat. We'll straighten up in this standing leg and bring this foot off the ground and then sink and land it again. 4 more on this side. So straighten, sink. Right, I'll turn sideways. I'm straightening the leg, this foot's coming off the ground, and then sink. Straighten, sink. The whole time this foot is empty. Straighten, sink. One more. And then bring that foot back, switch. That foot out, straighten, sink. So notice how getting that foot to the ground has more to do with sinking through your standing leg. We have to get down through that standing leg. So these are like little calisthenics training neural precision down here. All right, bring that foot back. And shogun, or closing gesture. So that closes this first little module or set of practices. Hands up and over top. Hands settle down to our middle, to our navel, to our belly button. Breathing in. Breathing out. In. Out. 2 more breaths. Now we're still over by this side chair here on your right side, my left, but your right. Change your weight to your left leg. Put your right foot in front, heel touching. Now we shift into that front leg and try to get on the tippy toe of the back foot. And then shift back and get to the tip of the heel in the front foot. Now your cup of tea on your head. Shift. Shift. So often when we're now moving forwards and backwards in space, especially if we have a bunch of tension in the body, what happens is we go too far and too far with the body. Whereas just watch what my body is doing as I'm moving forward. It's keeping this integrity even though it's moving forward and moving back. So that is the meaning of this idea that the primary direction is down. So when I'm shifting into my right leg and moving forward, I'm really just going down to the earth, getting that spring-loaded feeling. Down to the earth, getting that spring-loaded feeling. down to the earth. Down to the earth. And we're also getting separation of one full, one empty. Other full, other empty. Let's go to level 2 now. So with that right foot in front, lift and lower. That's what your chair is there for, to keep you safe. But we lift the leg, lower the leg. Now, shift. Back foot like a flamingo. Bend the knee, bringing the foot up so we're only on one leg, and then touch the toe back where it was. Shift back. From this hip joint, lift, lower, shift. From the back leg, bend the knee, toe down, shift back. So we sit the hip. We're sinking through this standing leg to create freedom in this lifted. And then we're changing, letting the weight go down through that leg. And because it's so well down through this right leg, this is free. This is light. This is empty. I'm not having to clench it or grip it. Shift. Because you get so well down through that leg, this is free. Because you get so well down through this other leg, this one's free. Upper body is loose and empty. There's no need to be grabbing, holding, getting prepared. A lot of times we're sort of preparing for a fall, which makes sense, but it works against us. If I'm doing this the whole time, I'm creating top heavy. So I gotta be relaxed, gotta be loose. Now, level 3, hand on chair as needed, lift, heel softly touch down, shift into that right leg. Now your back foot, bring the knee forward and up, like you're about to step up a very high step. And then bring the leg back and touch the toe to the ground. Shift back. Bring this right knee up, down, shift, forward and up, toe back, shift. The pivot, the middle pivot being free, being loose, and these movements help to create that state. A lot of times we come with barnacles, adhesion, sort of stuck quality, and then the practice yields over time an awareness of looseness and yet stability deep in. This middle pivot that gives us balance and adaptability. Now, bring your right foot next to your left foot, change your weight to your right foot, side step. Now you should be closer to your left side chair. So get to where you are and change the weight into your right leg, put left foot out, heel lightly touching, and shift. Level 1, tippy toe. Shift. Once your weight is in your back leg, you should be able to kind of waggle this foot. Shift. Once that back foot is truly empty, it should be able to do what I'm doing here. Just kind of easy waggle without disturbing the body. Shift. Right? Loose and free. And this is a great exercise when you're waiting for your teacup and you got a countertop nearby, something to keep you safe, but you just don't let yourself get frozen and stuck. Keep this yin-yang differential. Right? Or you're just saying, I'm just flowing. I'm just like a river. It needs to flow. You don't want it to get stagnant. Let's go level 2. So the weight's in your back leg, your front leg from the hip. Just a little lift. Use the chair for safety. Change your weight. Now, the back leg, just a little flamingo, bend to the knee. Toe touch down, shift back. From the hip, you kind of sit that hip and lower the leg, shift. And those of you that have been doing it a while, and you kind of know the choreography and the sequencing, then you start really paying attention. Remember that turning the light around. Turn the light around and start to really pay attention to softness or lack thereof, because we're looking for soft, buoyant, supple, fluid, not tension grabbing, holding, what they call lead. in the Chinese way of thinking of it, which they call clumsy tension-based strength, which is what, especially with Parkinson's, you can't get away with clumsiness anymore. Everything has to be this soft, supple, fluid, smooth, right? So we got to move in that direction. Let's go level 3 here. Chair, lift, lower, shift. It's the emptiness of this leg and hip that allows it this flow. It's that looseness that allows for that. And then I have to make sure I'm full empty. Then it's that looseness that allows for that change. The loose quality, the letting go of it. It's like we're shaking out debris. And then when the debris is out, everything's just a little easier. And stepping back. Now, you stay as you are. I have to move a couple of things just so my space is correct. So now I am the same as you, facing forward. Move over to the left side of your space. So your chairs hopefully are close enough here that now I have this runway going that way. I want you to have the same runway. And we're going to walk 4 or 5 steps forward, 4 or 5 steps back. Now remember the key things that you're working on. Central pivot being 3, like with a seesaw, right? A seesaw is going through this whole change, but its middle pivot is just hanging out right where it is. So that's what we're cultivating, is this feeling of central pivot freedom. And then also empty and full. So if you just think of those 2 ideas as we walk. So the chairs are there for safety if you need them. Now, empty your left foot, put it out in front with the heel touching. And then we've got right full, left empty. Change that. So shift so that your left is full, your right is empty. The right foot being empty, you just step it in front, heel touching. It's still empty. And then we shift or we change, which is full and empty. We step while the foot remains empty. Then we shift. Step your empty foot. Shift. Now, reversing, same idea, be very careful. Chairs are there for safety. Shift back into your full leg, whichever your empty foot is. Mine is the right foot. I just bring it back and touch the toe behind. It's still empty. And then I'm shifting down, right? The primary direction down. The left foot now being empty, I can just step it behind. And then shifting down. Right foot being empty, step it behind, shift down. Left foot behind, down. Right foot behind, down. Forward, shift, wait for it to actually be empty, step it and keep it empty, shift. Remember the idea that your legs are like bed springs or like a spring of sorts. As you shift into it, it compresses and creates support that then allows the freedom of the step, and then compresses and compresses. Rather than having wooden stilts for legs, you have to have these slightly bendable, sinkable springs. Going backward, step the empty foot, shift the weight, let the weight get down to the earth. Step, down to the earth. Step, step, step. Last forward and backward voyage. Less is more, or fewer steps done correctly that train your brain and nervous system to sense what is actually full and empty. If you get very good at sensing that, you can eventually speed that up to move faster or more efficiently through space. But you have to slow it down to find the middle pivot, to find what is actually one full, one empty. Right? And this is why Tai Chi is so powerful, because when we slow down and we find our efficient way of doing things, then it can become very swift, right? Very swift and efficient. All right, now turn and face forward again and be at the far left side of your runway. Change the weight to your left leg. Right leg is empty. We step it out and in. So this one is very key. Remember what I was saying about the groin area or the quad. So take your, what they call the secret sword, your index and middle finger together, the other fingers just gathered. So you have this, and just place them right on this little inguinal crease. We got genital area in the middle, that crease, okay, your groin crease. Just place them there lightly to bring awareness to there. Now, put your weight down through your left leg, right leg empty, side step. Now notice as you do that, you have two ways of doing this. The best way is what I've done. I kept my weight over here and I opened this groin area or quad, and then close. Open, close. The way you don't want to do it, but is natural to do, is you keep this groin closed and you, right? That's what we do. The body stays glued together and we sort of fall wherever we're going. But what we're looking to do is open, close. So now this light, empty quality, you see how I can move faster, but it's not disturbing my body at all. Like in, out, bop, bop, and yet I'm in a relaxed state. So that's what we're looking for here. This sidewalk really trains this. Now, keep your right foot out, right quad open, left quad is still closed. Now, change so that right quad closes, left quad or groin area opens. Change back. Close your left, open your right. Close the right, open the left. Now, notice what I'm also not doing. I'm not lifting this heel. I'm keeping the feet glued. And so I'm forcing opening up of real estate in the groin area. Notice also my middle line is not leaning left or right. I'm keeping my central pillar. And I'm just changing. Right leg full, left empty. Left leg full, right empty. Now stay in your right leg. Notice left quad open. Bring it in, out. In, out, in, out, open, close, open, close. Now, stay closed, change your weight to your left leg. So the right foot is a little bit empty. Change your weight to your right leg, so your other foot empty. Change. Change. And again, notice I'm not spilling the teacup on my head. I'm not leaning and tipping. I'm going down through, down through. I'm going to turn sideways. You can see the knee has to bend a little. Also notice, a lot of times people talk about their back hurting. Notice how my back is going vertical. I'm not doing this. If you're doing this, you're going to be jamming and straining your back over time. So you have to find this down with a little bend of the knee, just a little, nothing too major. Change. Finally, weight down through your left leg, right foot empty, open the right quad, shift. Left quad is open, close it. Change your weight into your left leg, right quad, open with no weight, shift. Left quad is open, close it. Keep them closed while you change to your left leg. Side step out, shift. Bring it in, shift. Step it out, shift. Bring it in. Go the other way. Step without shifting. Shift without stepping. Step without shifting. Shift without stepping. Step without shift. Shift no step. Step no shift. Shift no step. Step. And then it starts to blend, like I was saying before. So now, as I'm changing, it can happen together, so it's efficient. As I'm going down, I'm shooting that leg out. As I'm changing, I'm bringing it in, but yet I'm not disobeying the rules and I'm not making myself unstable in the process. Let's go there and back, one final time. Out, shift, in. So all these exercises that we do sort of painstakingly slow. Those of you that have been practicing for a while, feel free to, on your own, decide you're going to try that next level of them, which is the sort of stacking them closer together, the down, out, change, step, down, out. The only rule being your teacup. You have to keep the idea that it's not getting sent across the room or falling, right? That here, there, my middle is retaining. And then with our final little practice, we're going to keep the exact same side step, but add the Tai Chi rotation. So let's find parallel feet. Palms are like bear paws dipped into the water. So now shift into your right leg, and from your middle pivot, add the rotation, turning a little bit, and sweep your hands over to your right side. And then shift into your left leg, turn from your middle pivot, sweep your hands over to the other side. Shift into the right leg, turn from your middle pivot, and sweep the hands. We do a lot more of this type of stuff in the Friday class. That's more upper body choreography. But I want to add this. So now, how do we put this together? So the right leg is empty. We're shifting and turning. Now, left foot steps in. Shift into the left leg and turn. Sweep the hands across to the other side. Right foot is empty. Your hands stay over here, but you step out. Now, shift, turn, bear washing paws over to the right. Left foot is empty, bring it in. Then change into your left leg, turn, sweep the hands over to your left. Step the right foot out. Change leg, turn, sweep, hands. Kind of a three-part sequence. Step in. Change weight, turn, and sweep. Step out. Shift and turn and sweep. Eventually, this just flows so naturally, just like you would watch a river flow in all of its complexity, and yet it just seems so simple. But at first, we got to sort of relearn some of these flowing qualities. Step the left foot out, so it's shift and turn, sweep. Step in, shift and turn and sweep. Step out. Shift, turn, brush, sweep, step. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. So the whole body, a big liquid matrix with a central pivot organizing it all. And done. Hands together. And actually, before we do that, make your way safely to where you're just in front of your chair, so you can sit in a moment. Hands together. This is our final self-massage. Rub the quad, the groin area. So again, genital area in the middle, the groin area on either side. That line, that space is a common congested space. So rubbing that space, good for the lymphatic system as well. And then right onto this upper thigh, right where the pelvis and the thigh meet, in and out, hip flexors, then come around to the back, and right on your tailbone, kind of down the butt crack tailbone area, then up onto your lower back muscles. And then, as if you're going to sit in the chair, stick the butt back, sit the butt, sweep the hands down the outside of the legs, around and up the inside of the legs. Let's do just that portion again. Come around to the back. Sit the butt and sweep down the outside legs, around and up the inside legs. One more time, around, down, around, up. And then finally, you go up the outside of one arm to the shoulder, turn that arm palm up, sweep down the inside of that arm, and we're going to repeat on the same arm. Up the outside, turn, down the inside, up the out, down the in, up the out, down the in, up and down, up and down. Think of this as a chi reset. We're resetting the ideal flow. Other arm, up the outer, turn, down the in, up and down, up and down. Final shogun, wing, roll, up and over, fold, settling. Here's the belly button. 1, 2. 3 breaths, in the nose, out the mouth. Nose. 1. All right, have a seat in your chair. Make sure you know where it is. Sink the butt back and down. All right, great job. So some of you, I know you maybe have to wander off. You can just wave goodbye and go. If there are any questions of any kind, please unmute yourself and let me know. And it doesn't have to be questions. Often it's, impressions or some sort of idea that has come to you. And that's usually very helpful for your fellow Qigong practitioners here. So any thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say it's my first time, and
Great.
I wasn't sure how long it was going to go or exactly what we were going to do, but it seems like it might be good for me. You did these sorts of exercises every week. You're not actually doing the whole Tai Chi thing yet.
Yeah, no, we're doing basically below the waist on Monday, above the waist on Friday. And then as people get a little more ability, but we're using Tai Chi principles and practices for practical reasons. Because a lot of times it can get so involved, learn this move, then this move, then this move. And people start falling off and going, I can't, So
yeah, this is good. I'll see you again. I just wanted to I have to go right now, but thank you very much.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Thank you also.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. Yeah, good having you.
Yeah,
Are
very
you
good.
going to be around this summer, Otto?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to continue the class. So you'll be available for private lessons?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going out of town June 1st through the 6th, and then August 11th for a Taoist training, a 10-day retreat with my teacher. So that's always time well spent. And I'm going to see my sister in June with my niece, which is going to be fun. But other than that, I'm here and working.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Great.
reach out to me whenever you need to.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you.
Anything else? Any other thoughts?
Yes. Very good.
Carolyn, I think you were new as well today. Any question? You'll have to unmute if you have any thought or question. And I see you're someone helping you along there as well. So good to meet both of you. And the mute button would be bottom. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. So any questions for either of you?
No, thank you. It was really good.
Cool.
I've done Tai Chi before.
Hi, Gail.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Otto.
Yeah, you've done Tai Chi before. I know it can be a very, it's a broad spectrum what people mean by Tai Chi, but we're using the principles of body mechanics, I guess you could say. Like they have a unique understanding of how to use the body. And I find that it is perfectly applicable to the nervous system issues that people are dealing with, Parkinson's being one of them.
I used to do Tai Chi before my diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hopefully I'll see you on Friday as well. We do more of the fun stuff, the upper body fun stuff. So,
Yeah.
all righty. Take care,
Very good.
everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.